Picture this. You wake up, heart still racing, the air thick with something you can't name. That dream felt too real. Your ex was sitting across from you, eyes locked, words heavy with meaning. You open your eyes, but the feeling lingers, like the echo of another life bleeding into this one. Ancient Egyptians would tell you this wasn't just a dream. It was a message. Thoth, the ibis-headed god of wisdom, keeper of the cosmic archives, understood something our modern science is only beginning to glimpse. He believed dreams were not random flickers of memory, but portals, intersections where consciousness slips beyond time and space. When someone appears in your dream, it's not coincidence, it's connection. Think about it. Some dream visitors fade the moment you wake, while others stay, their presence clinging to your thoughts, stirring emotions you can't explain. The Egyptians said Thoth recorded the weight of souls and mapped the afterlife itself. He also revealed why certain souls cross the threshold into your sleeping mind. According to him, there are 3 reasons dream visitors appear, and the third changes everything we think we know about human connection. Now imagine this. You're in a dusty archive in Cairo, holding a papyrus that's over 4,000 years old. The hieroglyphs whisper about something Thoth called the eternal memory, a concept so far ahead of its time that modern physics is only now catching up. Thoth declared something radical. Your subconscious forgets nothing. Not a single face in a passing crowd, not a fleeting emotion from childhood, not even the briefest meeting of souls. Every person you've ever encountered is stored within what he called your soul's Akashic Records. But here's the mind-bending part. Thoth wasn't just talking about personal memory. He was describing a cosmic network, a universal database containing the experiences of every soul across all of existence. At first, it sounds like mystical poetry, but quantum physics is beginning to support the idea that consciousness might actually exist in a quantum field, where information and emotion transcend space and time. Thoth taught that dreams are access points into this universal consciousness. Imagine your subconscious as a receiver, a cosmic radio tuning into the frequencies of other souls. You don't dream of people at random. Your mind aligns with certain soul frequencies, reaching those with whom you share what Thoth called soul memory patterns, deep karmic connections that stretch beyond this lifetime. That stranger from last night's dream, they might have walked beside you in ancient Egypt, under the same stars that watched your eternal promises. The child who appears in your dreams could have been your sibling centuries ago, bound by loyalty and loss. The teacher guiding you through symbols of light might be the same soul who mentored you in Atlantis, long before recorded time. Sound impossible? Then ask yourself this. Have you ever met someone and felt that instant recognition, that pull of familiarity you can't explain? Thoth would say that's not coincidence. That's your soul remembering. That's the Akashic record opening, a whisper from eternity, reminding you that every connection, every dream, every heartbeat is part of something infinitely larger than this single lifetime. When someone appears in your dreams, it's never random. These nocturnal encounters operate on principles that transcend our ordinary understanding of time and space. Have you ever noticed how certain dream visitors leave you with emotions or insights you can't quite shake? Thoth thought that dreams are intersection points where consciousness moves beyond physical limitations. The ancient Egyptians believed he recorded the weight of souls and decoded the mysteries of the afterlife, including why specific people cross the threshold into our sleeping minds. What Thoth revealed about dream visitors will fundamentally shift how you interpret these midnight encounters. There are 3 distinct reasons people visit your dreams, and the third one reveals something extraordinary about human connection itself. Picture this. You're sitting in a dusty archive in Cairo, holding a papyrus that's over 4,000 years old. The hieroglyphs speak of something Thoth called the eternal memory, a concept so revolutionary that modern science is only now catching up to what this ancient god understood millennia ago. Thoth made a declaration that would fundamentally change how we understand human consciousness. Your subconscious mind never forgets anything. Not a single face you've glimpsed in a crowd. Not a fleeting emotion from childhood. Not even the briefest connection with another soul. Every person who has ever touched your life, whether for decades or mere seconds, is permanently stored in what Thoth called your soul's Akashic Records. But here's where it gets fascinating. Thoth wasn't talking about your personal filing cabinet of memories. He was describing something far more extraordinary. A cosmic database that transcends your current lifetime. Think of it as the universe's ultimate hard drive, containing not just your experiences, but the experiences of every soul across all of existence. When I first encountered this concept in the ancient texts, I thought it sounded like mystical poetry. Then quantum physics started proving that consciousness might actually work this way. Scientists are discovering that information, including memories and experiences, might be stored in what they call the quantum field, accessible across space and time in ways that defy our conventional understanding. Thoth taught that when someone appears in your dream, something profound is happening on multiple dimensions simultaneously. Your dream isn't just replaying a memory like an old movie reel. Instead, your consciousness is actively accessing these Akashic records, pulling information that your waking mind has no idea exists. Here's how Thoth explained it. Dreams operate as access points to universal consciousness. Imagine a vast network connecting all souls, like the internet, but infinitely more sophisticated. Your subconscious acts as a receiver, picking up soul frequencies that your logical waking mind simply can't detect. It's like having a cosmic radio that automatically tunes into specific stations based on your soul's history, but you don't randomly tune into just anyone. This is crucial. Thoth revealed that dream visitors are souls with whom you share what he called soul memory patterns, deep karmic connections that transcend your current lifetime. These aren't accidental encounters. They're precise, purposeful communications from souls who have been intertwined with yours across multiple existences. Consider the possibilities. That stranger who appeared in your dream last week might have been your lover in ancient Egypt, walking with you along the Nile under stars that witnessed your eternal promises. The child who visits your dreams could be your sibling from medieval Europe, where you protected each other through plague and famine. That wise figure offering guidance might be your teacher from Atlantis, continuing lessons that began thousands of years ago. I know this sounds incredible, but think about your own experiences. Haven't you met someone and felt an immediate, inexplicable familiarity? That instant recognition, that sense of, I know you from somewhere? Thoth would say, that's your soul recognizing a pattern, accessing memories from the Akashic records that your conscious mind can't quite grasp. The deepest teachings about these soul memory patterns are actually too sensitive to share in a public forum like this. Thoth's most profound revelations about how to actively access and interpret your Akashic records are reserved for serious students of ancient wisdom. That's why we've compiled them in our exclusive Insights Academy newsletter, where subscribers receive not just these hidden teachings, but also a free copy of the Kybalion, the foundational text for understanding Hermetic principles. This offer is only available for a limited time, and honestly, some of this knowledge has been suppressed for good reason. It's powerful enough to completely transform how you understand your relationships and life purpose. The ancient Egyptians understood something we're rediscovering. Your soul maintains detailed records of every connection, every relationship, every significant interaction across lifetimes. When you dream of someone, you're not just processing random neural firings. You're accessing a sophisticated information system that connects you to souls across time and space. This explains why certain people feel like home the moment you meet them. It's why some relationships feel destined, while others feel like unfinished business. Your soul recognizes these patterns because they're stored in your personal section of the Akashic Records, waiting to be accessed when the time is right. Thoth said that these records aren't static. They're living, breathing databases that update continuously. Every interaction in this lifetime adds to the pattern, deepening connections or resolving karmic debts that have existed for centuries. When someone appears in your dream, they're often signaling that it's time to acknowledge or complete something that began long before your current incarnation. What's remarkable is how modern quantum physics is starting to validate these ancient insights. Scientists are discovering that consciousness might not be produced by the brain, but rather accessed through it, like a radio receiving signals from a vast, interconnected field of information. This field could very well be what Thoth called the Akashic Records. The implications are staggering. If Thoth was right, then every dream visitor carries significance. Every person who appears in your sleeping consciousness is there because your souls share a pattern, a connection, a story that spans lifetimes. Your subconscious is constantly scanning these records, bringing forward the souls whose presence is most relevant to your current spiritual development. Thoth had answers about human connections that we're only beginning to understand. He knew that consciousness operates on levels far beyond our current scientific models, accessing information through mechanisms that seem impossible until you consider that time, space, and individual identity might be far more fluid than we imagine. This foundation, understanding that your dreams access eternal soul records, is essential before we can explore what specific types of dream visitors mean and why they appear when they do. Have you ever woken up from a vivid dream about someone you haven't spoken to in years, only to receive a text, call, or social media message from that exact person within the next day or two? Most people dismiss this as mere coincidence, but Thoth revealed something that will completely change how you understand these experiences. According to the ancient wisdom preserved in Thoth's teachings, what you're witnessing isn't coincidence at all. It's evidence of what he called soul telepathy, one of the most profound discoveries about human consciousness ever recorded. Thoth understood that when two souls share strong karmic connections, they remain energetically linked regardless of physical distance, time apart, or even the end of their relationship in the physical world. Picture this. Thoth described invisible threads of light connecting heart to heart, soul to soul. These aren't metaphorical connections. According to his teachings, they're literal energetic pathways that exist in dimensions beyond our normal perception. Think of them like cosmic telephone lines that never get disconnected, constantly transmitting subtle information between souls who have shared significant experiences together. But here's where Thoth's revelation becomes truly extraordinary. He discovered that during sleep, our souls aren't confined to our physical bodies the way we assume they are during waking hours. Instead, souls travel and meet on what he called the soul plane, a dimension of consciousness where physical limitations simply don't exist. Time, distance, and even death become irrelevant on this plane of existence. This means those vivid dream conversations you've had with people, especially the ones that felt incredibly real and emotionally charged, might not be your imagination creating fictional scenarios. According to Thoth's teachings, you may have literally met with that person's soul in a higher dimension, their consciousness connected with yours in a space where true communication happens without words, where souls recognize each other instantly, and where the deepest truths can be shared. I remember studying accounts of people who dreamed of deceased relatives sharing specific information they couldn't possibly have known, or former lovers appearing in dreams to resolve unfinished emotional business, only to discover later that the other person had experienced the exact same dream on the same night. Thoth's framework explains these experiences not as supernatural anomalies, but as natural functions of consciousness operating on levels most people never learn to recognize. Thoth said that these psychic cords connecting souls don't break when relationships end or when people move to different continents. They remain active, continuously transmitting thoughts, emotions, and even urgent messages between connected souls. This is why you might suddenly think intensely about someone you haven't contacted in months, feeling an unexplainable urge to reach out, only to discover they were going through a crisis and desperately needed support. One of Thoth's most fascinating concepts involves what he called scheduled soul meetings, appointments arranged by souls before incarnating into this lifetime. According to this teaching, certain encounters in dreams aren't random, but represent pre-planned meetings between souls who agreed to connect at specific moments to share guidance, healing, or important information. These scheduled meetings often occur during significant life transitions, moments of crisis, or when one soul needs to deliver a crucial message to another. Consider how this manifests in everyday life. You're going through a difficult decision about your career, and suddenly you dream about a former mentor who gives you specific advice. Within 48 hours, you encounter information or opportunities that align perfectly with the guidance received in the dream. Thoth would say, this represents a scheduled soul meeting, where your mentor's higher consciousness connected with yours to provide exactly the wisdom you needed at that moment. The mechanism behind this involves what Thoth identified as psychic cords created through strong emotional connections. Every person who has significantly impacted your life, whether through love, conflict, shared trauma, or profound joy, has established these energetic pathways with you. The stronger the emotional charge of your shared experiences, the more robust and active these connections remain throughout your lifetime and beyond. These cords explain why former romantic partners often appear in dreams during relationship transitions, why childhood friends surface in your subconscious during periods of nostalgia or major life changes, and why people you've had unresolved conflicts with continue visiting your dreams until the emotional charge between you gets neutralized or transformed. Thoth discovered that the universe operates on levels of connection completely invisible to ordinary waking consciousness, but fully accessible through the dream state. Your sleeping mind becomes a receiver, picking up transmissions from souls across time and space, delivering messages, sharing energy, and maintaining relationships that transcend physical reality. This understanding transforms how we interpret those moments when someone appears repeatedly in our dreams over several nights. Rather than psychological processing of memories, Thoth would identify this as active communication from that person's soul, possibly indicating they're thinking intensely about you, need your energetic support, or have important information to share. The practical implications are staggering. Every dream visitor represents a living connection to another consciousness. Every nighttime encounter potentially carries real information or healing energy. And every person who appears in your sleep might be literally reaching out to you from their own soul level. Regardless of whether their waking mind is consciously aware of this connection, pay attention to the patterns in your dream visitors. They're showing you the invisible network of souls you remain connected to, and the active relationships your consciousness maintains beyond the limitations of physical existence. Now, you might be wondering, if souls are constantly interacting through dreams, why do some encounters feel more significant than others? Why does dreaming about your childhood friend feel different from dreaming about a deceased grandparent? Thoth's wisdom provides us with a framework that's both elegant and profound. According to the ancient texts, Thoth discovered that dream visitations aren't random cosmic accidents. They follow specific spiritual laws, operating with the same precision as mathematical equations. Every soul that appears in your dreams does so for one of 3 sacred reasons, each serving a distinct purpose in your spiritual evolution. Think about the last vivid dream you had involving another person. The clarity, the emotions, the way certain details stayed with you long after waking. These aren't coincidences. They're indicators of which spiritual law was at work. The first sacred reason: karmic resolution. The most common reason souls visit your dreams involves what Thoth called karmic threading, the process of working through unresolved connections that span multiple lifetimes. But here's where most people misunderstand karma entirely. It's not some cosmic punishment system keeping score of your mistakes. Karma is actually the universe's educational curriculum, designed to help souls learn and evolve. When someone appears repeatedly in your dreams, especially if these dreams carry intense emotions or unresolved conflicts, you're witnessing karma in action. Your soul is essentially attending night school, working through lessons that couldn't be completed in waking life. I've seen this play out in fascinating ways. A woman I know kept dreaming about her estranged sister. Always the same scenario: their children again playing in their grandmother's garden. But something always goes wrong. The dream would end with one sister abandoning the other. After months of these dreams, she realized they were processing a pattern of abandonment that had defined their relationship for decades. The dreams weren't just memories. They were her soul's way of understanding the karmic lesson both sisters needed to learn about trust and loyalty. These karmic dreams often feel different from regular dreams. They carry what I call soul weight, an emotional intensity that feels both familiar and ancient. You might dream about resolving an argument with someone who's been dead for years, or find yourself in scenarios that never actually happened, but feel more real than your waking life. The second sacred reason: astral communication. Here's where Thoth's teachings become truly extraordinary. He understood that consciousness isn't confined to physical bodies. When we sleep, our souls can literally travel and communicate across dimensions through what he called the astral plane. This isn't metaphorical. It's actual soul-to-soul communication happening while your physical body rests. Remember that concept of soul telepathy we discussed earlier? This is its most direct manifestation. Sometimes, when a soul appears in your dream, it's because they're actively reaching out to you from wherever they are, whether that's across the world or across the veil of death. These astral communications have distinct characteristics. The person often appears exactly as they are now, not as you remember them. They might share information you couldn't possibly know, or the conversation feels more like a real interaction than a dream sequence. You wake up feeling like you actually spent time with this person, because in the truest sense, you did. A friend of mine experienced this powerfully when her father appeared in a dream 3 days after his death. In the dream, he showed her where he'd hidden important financial documents she didn't even know existed. When she checked the location he'd shown her, there they were. This wasn't her subconscious processing grief. This was her father's soul communicating essential information through the astral plane. The third sacred reason: future soul encounters. Now, prepare yourself for the most mind-bending aspect of Thoth's dream teachings. Sometimes, the people who appear in your dreams are souls you haven't met yet in this lifetime, but are destined to encounter. Thoth understood something that modern physics is only beginning to grasp. Time isn't linear from the soul's perspective. Your higher consciousness exists outside the constraints of past, present, and future. This means your soul can preview important relationships and encounters before they manifest in your physical reality. These prophetic dreams serve as preparation, allowing your soul to recognize and connect with destined encounters when they finally occur in waking life. Have you ever met someone for the first time and felt an instant, inexplicable familiarity? That sense of, "I know you from somewhere," when you're certain you've never met? Often, you're recognizing a soul you've already encountered in the dream realm. The implications of this teaching are staggering. That stranger in your dream who felt unusually vivid, who stirred emotions you couldn't explain, might be someone scheduled to play a significant role in your spiritual development. These preview meetings help your soul prepare for connections that will catalyze growth, healing, or major life changes. I've witnessed this phenomenon countless times. A client once told me about recurring dreams featuring a woman with distinctive red hair and a particular laugh. In the dreams, they were always collaborating on some creative project, though my client couldn't remember the details upon waking. 2 years later, she met this exact woman at a conference. Same red hair, same laugh, same creative energy. They ended up founding a successful business together, exactly as their souls had rehearsed in the dream realm. These future encounter dreams often carry a quality of anticipation, like you're being prepared for something important. The emotional tone is usually positive and energizing, even if you can't understand why. Your soul recognizes the significance of the coming connection, even when your conscious mind remains unaware. This is the sacred purpose behind every encounter. What makes Thoth's framework so powerful is its recognition that every dream encounter, whether karmic, communicative, or prophetic, serves your soul's evolution. Nothing is random. Every person who appears in your dreams, from brief cameos to starring roles, contributes to your spiritual education in some way. This understanding transforms how you approach your dream life. Instead of dismissing these encounters as mere brain activity, you begin to see them as the profound spiritual communications they truly are. Each dream becomes a classroom, each encounter a lesson, each emotion a clue to deeper truths about your soul's journey. Your dream visitors aren't just fragments of memory or random neural firing. They're active participants in your spiritual evolution, operating according to ancient laws that Thoth decoded thousands of years ago. You know that dream where your third-grade teacher, Mrs. Henderson, suddenly appears, and you wake up wondering why on earth you dream about someone you haven't thought about in 20 years. According to Thoth's ancient wisdom, that seemingly random appearance isn't random at all. Mrs. Henderson might have been your mother in ancient Egypt, your spouse in medieval France, or even your own child in a past incarnation you can't consciously remember. This revelation completely transforms how we understand dream visitations. When Thoth speaks of souls appearing in our dreams, he's not just talking about current life connections. He's revealing a vast network of relationships that span multiple lifetimes. The woman who taught you multiplication tables and helped you tie your shoes might carry a soul bond with you that stretches back centuries. Think about it from Thoth's perspective. Your subconscious mind doesn't just store memories from this current lifetime. It's like a vast library containing emotional imprints, relationship patterns, and soul connections from every single incarnation you've experienced. When Mrs. Henderson appears in your dream, your soul is recognizing something your conscious mind has forgotten. The deep familiarity of a connection that transcends this single lifetime. This explains so much about those inexplicable feelings we all experience. You meet a complete stranger at a coffee shop, and within minutes, you're sharing stories like old friends. There's an immediate trust, a sense of coming home to someone you've technically just met. Thoth understood that this isn't coincidence, it's soul recognition. Your deeper self remembers what your surface mind cannot, the lifetimes you've shared, the roles you've played in each other's spiritual evolution. But here's where it gets really fascinating. Thoth taught that souls don't just randomly bump into each other across lifetimes. Instead, we travel in what he called soul groups, clusters of interconnected souls who choose to incarnate together repeatedly, playing different roles to help each other grow and evolve. The person who was your demanding boss in this lifetime might have been your beloved child in the 1600s. Your current spouse could have been your business partner in ancient Rome, your sister in Victorian England, or your student in a monastery centuries ago. These role reversals aren't arbitrary. They're carefully orchestrated opportunities for spiritual development. Both recognize that souls need to experience relationships from every possible angle to truly understand love, forgiveness, leadership, and surrender. The parent becomes the child, the teacher becomes the student, the leader becomes the follower. Each lifetime offers new lessons and perspectives. I've seen this play out in countless ways. A woman constantly dreams about a Victorian-era house she's never visited, feeling an overwhelming sense of loss and longing. Through deeper exploration, she discovers that her current teenage son, with whom she has a complicated, intense relationship, was likely her husband in that Victorian lifetime. Their souls are still working through dynamics of love, loss, and letting go that began over a century ago. Or consider the man who feels inexplicably nervous around authority figures, despite having no traumatic experiences with them in his current life. His dreams are filled with images of medieval castles and feelings of injustice. When he meets his current business mentor, someone who immediately feels both familiar and intimidating, his soul is responding to past life memories where this same soul held power over him, perhaps as a harsh medieval lord while he was a struggling peasant. These connections explain why certain relationships feel so intense from the very beginning. You know, that friend who you met and instantly felt like you'd known forever, or that romantic partner where the chemistry was immediate and overwhelming. Thoth would say, your souls are picking up where they left off, continuing conversations and connections that began lifetimes ago. But it's not always comfortable. Some of the most challenging relationships in our current lives represent souls who agreed to play difficult roles for our mutual growth. That family member who constantly pushes your buttons, the coworker who seems to bring out your worst qualities, the neighbor who irritates you for reasons you can't explain. These might be souls from your group who volunteered to be the difficult one this time around, so you could learn patience, forgiveness, or healthy boundaries. This perspective completely transforms how we approach challenging relationships. Instead of seeing that difficult person as your enemy, you begin to understand them as a soul who cared enough about your growth to take on an unpleasant role. It's like spiritual method acting. They're playing the villain in this lifetime's drama so you can develop the strength, wisdom, or compassion you need for your soul's evolution. Thoth also revealed that some advanced souls specifically choose to incarnate as teachers, guides, or mentors for their soul group. That professor who changed your life, the therapist who helped you heal, the random stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear at a crucial moment. These might be more evolved souls from your group who incarnated specifically to offer guidance and support. When you start recognizing these patterns, your entire relationship with other people shifts. You begin to see the deeper purpose behind every connection, the spiritual curriculum hidden within everyday interactions. That annoying coworker becomes a teacher showing you something about patience. That ex-partner who broke your heart becomes a soul who helped you learn about self-worth and healthy boundaries. Pay attention to the people who appear in your dreams, especially those who seem random or out of place. Your subconscious is trying to show you these deeper connections, these threads of relationship that weave through multiple lifetimes. The grocery store clerk you dream about might have been your dearest friend in another era. The celebrity you've never met but dream about regularly could represent a soul connection from a time when you knew them in a completely different context. Understanding these past life connections doesn't just satisfy curiosity. It accelerates your spiritual development and brings profound healing to current relationships. When you recognize that every person in your life is there by soul agreement, playing their part in your mutual evolution, you can approach even difficult relationships with greater compassion, wisdom, and purpose. What I'm about to share with you represents perhaps Thoth's most controversial teaching, one that challenges everything we've been told about relationships, destiny, and personal responsibility. According to the ancient wisdom keeper, every person who repeatedly appears in your dreams represents an unfinished karmic contract, a soul agreement you made. Here's where it gets profound. Thoth revealed that souls never leave anything incomplete. When someone haunts your dreams night after night, it's not random. It's what he called soul debt. Not money you owe, but spiritual obligations that transcend this single lifetime. These debts accumulate across multiple incarnations, creating invisible threads that pull certain souls back into your experience until the lesson is learned, the healing is complete, or the growth is achieved. But here's what most people get completely wrong about soul debt. That ex-boyfriend who keeps showing up in your dreams might have nothing to do with romance and everything to do with learning self-worth. The difficult parent who visits your sleep, even years after their death, isn't there to torment you. They're offering you another opportunity to master forgiveness, a lesson you've been working on together for centuries. That friend who betrayed you and now appears in recurring dreams. From the soul's perspective, they agreed to play the villain in your story so you could learn discernment, boundaries, and inner strength. This is where Thoth's teachings become truly shocking. According to his revelations, before we incarnate, our souls actually choose our most challenging relationships. We literally sit in council with other souls and select the people who will hurt us, disappoint us, abandon us, and push us to our breaking points. Why? Because these experiences are the fastest path to spiritual evolution. Think about this carefully. From the soul's perspective, there are no victims, only volunteers. Every painful relationship, every heartbreak, every betrayal was orchestrated by your higher self as a curriculum for growth. The person who shattered your trust, you asked them to do it before you were born. The parent who couldn't love you the way you needed, your soul chose that experience to learn unconditional self-love. These are what Thoth called karmic contracts, binding agreements that span multiple lifetimes and won't complete until both souls learn what they came to learn together. Some contracts are brief, lasting only a single interaction. Others stretch across centuries with the same souls finding each other lifetime after lifetime, playing different roles but working on the same core lessons. This explains why you feel inexplicably drawn to people who aren't good for you. Your conscious mind recognizes the red flags, but something deeper pulls you forward anyway. It explains why you can't shake memories of people who are long gone from your life, why certain relationships feel simultaneously familiar and impossible. Your soul knows something your conscious mind doesn't. There's unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, a contract that's still active. When someone appears repeatedly in your dreams, your higher self is sending you messages about what needs healing, learning, or completing between your souls. The dreams aren't random replays of memory. They're spiritual assignments. Each dream scenario is showing you a different aspect of the lesson you're meant to master with this person. I've seen this play out in countless ways. A woman who dreamed nightly about her deceased mother discovered the dreams stopped only after she forgave herself for not being the perfect daughter. A man haunted by dreams of his first love realized the relationship was teaching him about authentic communication, something he'd avoided in every relationship since. Another person's recurring dreams about a childhood bully ended when they finally understood the experience had taught them to stand up for others who couldn't defend themselves. Here's what Thoth revealed about completing these soul contracts. The quickest way to stop dreaming about someone is to complete whatever lesson they represent. Sometimes it's forgiveness, not for their benefit, but for your soul's evolution. Sometimes it's expressing love you never shared, writing a letter you'll never send, but your soul needs to release. Sometimes it's understanding the deeper spiritual purpose their presence served in your growth. The key is recognizing that every person in your karmic circle is both student and teacher. The relationships that challenge you most are often your greatest spiritual assignments. The people who trigger your deepest wounds are pointing you toward your most profound healing opportunities. But here's the practical application. When someone repeatedly visits your dreams, ask yourself what they represent in your spiritual curriculum. What quality did they embody that you need to develop? What wound did they expose that needs healing? What strength did their presence force you to discover? The answers will guide you toward completing the contract. Pay attention to the emotions these dream visits evoke. They're clues to the unfinished lesson. Fear might indicate a need to develop courage. Anger could point toward forgiveness work. Sadness might reveal unexpressed grief that needs processing. Love suggests appreciation that was never communicated. Remember, from Thoth's perspective, every soul in your karmic network is playing their role perfectly, even when that role feels destructive. The person who left you is teaching you wholeness. The one who betrayed you is showing you discernment. The one who couldn't love you properly is guiding you towards self-love. These contracts will continue to play out in dreams, in chance encounters, in new relationships that feel strangely familiar, until both souls have extracted every ounce of growth from the experience. Understanding this transforms everything about how you view your relationships and your dreams. Picture this. You're walking down a hallway lined with mirrors, but instead of showing your physical reflection, each mirror reveals a different aspect of your soul. This is exactly what Thoth described as the soul mirror principle, and it completely revolutionizes how we understand why certain people appear in our dreams. Here's what blew my mind when I first encountered this teaching. Every single person who shows up in your dreams especially the recurring ones, represents a piece of your own soul that's trying to communicate with you. This isn't some abstract philosophical concept. Thoth documented this as a fundamental principle of how consciousness operates across dimensional boundaries. Think about someone from your past who made you feel deeply, unconditionally loved. Maybe it was a grandmother, a teacher, or even a childhood friend. When this person appears in your dreams, your soul isn't necessarily trying to reconnect you with them specifically. Instead, it's showing you your own incredible capacity for love, a capacity that might be lying dormant in your current life. Your higher self uses their familiar face because it knows you'll pay attention, but the real message is about awakening that same loving energy within yourself. I've seen this play out countless times. A woman kept dreaming about her deceased aunt, who had always encouraged her artistic pursuits. She thought the dreams were just grief, but when she finally picked up her paintbrush again, after years of abandoning her art, the dreams transformed completely. Her aunt's face became a symbol of her own creative spirit calling her home. Now, here's where it gets really intense. Those dreams about people who hurt you, the ones that leave you waking up angry or upset. Thoth revealed that these aren't random torture sessions from your subconscious. They're your soul's way of asking you to heal the wounded parts of yourself that you've been avoiding. The person who betrayed you in the dream might represent the part of you that struggles with trust. The critical parent figure could be reflecting your own inner critic that needs healing. But Thoth's most shocking insight goes even deeper. Sometimes the people in your dreams aren't about those specific individuals at all. They're soul mirrors, reflecting qualities, fears, or potentials that need your immediate attention. Your ex-boyfriend might appear not because there's unfinished business with him, but because he represents a pattern of self-sabotage you're still carrying. Your successful college roommate might show up because your soul is urging you to step into your own power. This is why your higher self is so clever about using familiar faces. Your conscious mind will completely ignore abstract symbols or unknown faces in dreams. You'll wake up and forget them instantly, but show you someone you know, someone who triggers an emotional response, and suddenly, you're paying attention. It's the soul's ultimate attention-getting strategy. Let me give you some specific examples that might sound familiar. If you keep dreaming about that confident, successful person from your past, maybe a former colleague who seemed to have everything together, your soul might be urging you to step into your own power. It's not about comparing yourself to them. It's about recognizing that the confidence you admire in them exists within you, too. Or consider dreams about creative, free-spirited individuals from your life. That friend who traveled the world, the cousin who became an artist, the neighbor who seemed to live by their own rules. When they appear in your dreams, your authentic self might be calling you to break free from the boxes you've built around your life. Here's the question Thoth taught his students to ask, and it's a game changer. Instead of wondering, why am I dreaming about this person? Ask yourself, what quality does this person represent that I need to develop or heal within myself? This single shift in perspective opens up entirely new levels of understanding. A friend of mine kept having disturbing dreams about a manipulative ex-partner. Instead of dismissing these as trauma responses, she asked what quality this person represented. She realized they embodied her own tendency toward manipulation when she felt powerless. Once she began working on expressing her needs directly instead of through manipulation, the dreams stopped completely. And that's another fascinating aspect of this principle. When you integrate the soul lesson that someone represents, the dreams often naturally fade away, not because you've forgotten or suppressed anything, but because you've become whole in that area of your life. The mirror has served its purpose. This understanding completely transforms how we view all our relationships, not just dream encounters. Every person who triggers a strong reaction in you, positive or negative, is potentially reflecting something about yourself that deserves attention. The colleague who annoys you might be showing you a quality you possess, but judge harshly in yourself. The person you admire might be reflecting your own untapped potential. The practical application of this principle is profound. Start keeping a dream journal specifically focused on the people who appear and the qualities they embody. Don't just record who was there. Dig deeper into what they represent. Are they confident, creative, healing, wounded, successful, struggling? Then honestly ask yourself how these qualities show up in your own life. What makes this principle so powerful is that it shifts you from being a passive recipient of confusing dream experiences to becoming an active participant in your own soul's evolution. Every dream visitor becomes a teacher. Every recurring character becomes a guide, pointing you toward the next level of your personal growth. The ancient Egyptians understood this so deeply that they built entire spiritual practices around dream interpretation as soul work. They knew that the journey to wholeness required recognizing and integrating all aspects of the self, and dreams provided the perfect mirror for this sacred work. In all his centuries of studying the mysteries of consciousness and death, Thoth discovered something that fundamentally changed how he viewed human relationships. We don't live just one life. We live hundreds, sometimes thousands of incarnations connected by what he called eternal soul threads. These invisible bonds tie us to the same cluster of souls, lifetime after lifetime, creating what Thoth termed our soul group. When someone appears repeatedly in your dreams, especially with that inexplicable sense of familiarity, you're likely encountering a member of your ancient spiritual family. These aren't random visitations. According to Thoth's teachings, your soul group consists of roughly 100 to 150 souls who incarnate together across multiple lifetimes, playing different roles but maintaining the same core connections. Think about the people closest to you right now. Your mother, your spouse, your best friend, even that difficult boss who pushes every button you have. Thoth's research revealed something remarkable. These individuals have likely been significant figures in your past lives, just wearing different masks. Your current mother might have been your child in a previous incarnation. Your spouse could have been your sibling, your parent, or even your closest friend in another lifetime. The roles shift and change, but the soul recognition remains constant. This explains those instant, inexplicable connections you sometimes feel with people. You meet someone for the first time, yet there's an immediate sense of knowing them, of safety, or sometimes intense dislike that seems to come from nowhere. Thoth called these moments soul recognition events, your deeper consciousness remembering bonds forged across centuries. But here's where it gets fascinating. Soul groups don't always stay together. Thoth discovered that these spiritual families deliberately split apart across lifetimes for specific evolutionary purposes. Some souls incarnate earlier to prepare the way. Others come later to benefit from lessons already learned. Some choose challenging paths to accelerate their growth, while others take supporting roles to help their soul family members. When members of your soul group appear in dreams, it often signals a readiness to reconnect and continue your joint spiritual evolution. Maybe you've been separated for several lifetimes, each pursuing different lessons. The dream visitation is like a cosmic text message. I'm ready. Are you? I've seen this pattern countless times in my research. A woman dreams repeatedly of a childhood friend she lost touch with decades ago. Within months, they reconnect through a seemingly random encounter. A man has vivid dreams about his deceased grandfather, who offers specific guidance about a business decision. Later, he discovers his grandfather had faced the exact same choice in his own life and made the decision that led to the family's prosperity. Thoth made another chilling discovery about soul group dynamics. The more spiritually advanced members often visit the dreams of less evolved group members to offer guidance and support. That unusually wise figure who appears in your dreams, the one who speaks with authority and love, offering insights you couldn't have generated yourself, might be a soul family member who has progressed further along the spiritual path. This principle explains why departed loved ones often appear in dreams with specific messages or warnings. They're not bound by the same limitations of physical incarnation and can perceive patterns and dangers you might miss. Your grandmother who visits your dreams to warn you about a relationship isn't just memory or wishful thinking. According to Thoth, she's an advanced soul in your group, using her expanded awareness to guide you through challenges. But soul group connections aren't limited to people you already know. Thoth taught about something he called soul previews, dream meetings with strangers before you encounter them in physical reality. These prophetic dreams serve as preparation for significant destined relationships about to enter your life. The signs are unmistakable once you know what to look for. You dream about someone you've never met, with vivid details about their appearance, personality, or the circumstances of your meeting. Days, weeks, or sometimes months later, that exact person appears in your waking life, often triggering a profound relationship or life change. These aren't coincidences. Your soul group operates on a level beyond physical time and space. Members can sense when important connections are about to manifest and use dreams to prepare you for these encounters. The dream serves as a bridge, allowing your consciousness to recognize the significance of the meeting when it occurs. Consider the practical implications of this knowledge. Every difficult person in your life, that challenging family member, the demanding boss, the friend who betrays you, might be a soul family member who agreed to play the antagonist role to help you learn specific lessons. This doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it reframes these relationships as spiritual assignments rather than random suffering. The most beautiful aspect of Thoth's teaching about soul groups is his principle that the universe wastes nothing. Every dream encounter, every relationship, every connection serves a purpose in your collective spiritual evolution. When someone appears in your dreams, ask yourself, what is this soul trying to teach me? What unfinished business do we have together? What growth are we meant to achieve through our connection? Your dream visitors aren't random neurological firings or meaningless subconscious wanderings. They're meetings with your eternal spiritual family. Souls who have chosen to walk alongside you through countless lifetimes, supporting your growth and sharing the magnificent journey of consciousness evolution. The bonds you feel, the recognition you experience, the love, and even the challenges, all of it serves the greater purpose of your soul group's collective awakening. Start paying attention to the patterns in your dream relationships. The souls calling to you across the veil of sleep are your ancient family, ready to continue the sacred work you began together lifetimes ago. The ancient scribes who recorded Thoth's teachings knew they were preserving something extraordinary when they documented his insights about love and death. What they discovered challenges everything we've been taught about the boundaries of existence itself. Thoth revealed that true love, not the fleeting attraction or even deep affection we experience at the personality level, operates from the soul dimension, where death simply doesn't exist. When you love someone at this profound level, you're connecting with their eternal essence, the part of them that has existed across countless lifetimes and will continue long after this physical experience ends. This explains why certain people feel instantly familiar, why you can meet someone and feel like you've known them forever. Thoth said that these aren't coincidences or romantic fantasies. They're moments of soul recognition when your eternal being remembers a connection that spans multiple incarnations. The love you feel isn't just about who they are in this lifetime. It's recognition of a bond that has been growing and deepening across centuries. When these souls appear in your dreams, you're not just processing current relationship dynamics. You're accessing the full spectrum of your connection, past lives where you were lovers, siblings, parent and child, teacher and student, or even brief encounters that changed everything. The Egyptian texts describe how Thoth could perceive these soul threads, connecting people across time, watching love evolve and transform through different roles and circumstances. Here's where it gets fascinating. Thoth discovered that we don't have just one soulmate. We have entire networks of souls we've agreed to love and learn with. Some are family members who've played different roles across lifetimes. Your current daughter might have been your sister in medieval France, your protective mother in ancient Greece. Others are friends whose souls chose to support each other's growth, appearing lifetime after lifetime in various forms. But perhaps most intriguing are the brief encounter soulmates. People who touch your life profoundly for short periods, then disappear. Thoth said that these souls often carry the most important messages. They might appear as the stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear, the mentor who guided you through a crucial period, or even someone you loved intensely but couldn't stay with. When these souls visit your dreams, they're often celebrating the successful completion of their mission in your life or preparing you for another encounter. This understanding revolutionizes how we interpret dreams about lost loves or departed friends. That ex-partner who appears in your dreams isn't necessarily indicating you should reconnect physically. Instead, their soul might be helping you integrate the spiritual gifts that relationship brought, the confidence you gained, the compassion you developed, or the self-worth you discovered through loving and being loved. Thoth's most surprising revelation was that not every soulmate connection is meant to be permanent in each lifetime. Some souls make agreements to love each other intensely for brief periods, teach crucial lessons, then separate so both can continue evolving independently. The pain of separation isn't punishment. It's the natural result of love transforming into wisdom and spiritual growth. Think about relationships that ended but left you fundamentally changed. The person who taught you to trust your intuition then left so you could practice that skill independently. The love that showed you your capacity for deep feeling then ended so you could carry that expanded heart into other relationships. Thoth saw these as successful soul contracts, not failures. The most beautiful aspect of Thoth's teachings involves departed loved ones visiting from the spirit realm. According to his understanding, consciousness continues after physical death, and love creates bridges between dimensions. When deceased family members, friends, or partners appear in dreams, these aren't wishful thinking or psychological processing. They're genuine soul encounters. These visits serve multiple purposes. Sometimes they're comfort missions, when a departed soul wants to ease your grief by showing they still exist and love you. Other times they're guidance dreams, where someone who knew you deeply offers perspective on current challenges. Occasionally they're completion dreams, where souls resolve unfinished emotional business, or express things that couldn't be said before death. The Egyptian mystery schools taught that love creates luminous threads connecting souls across all dimensions. Death can't sever these connections. It only changes how they operate. Your grandmother who visits your dreams isn't trapped or earthbound. She's using love's natural bridge to maintain contact with someone precious to her. What makes this even more profound is Thoth's teaching about love's cumulative effect on your soul. Every act of genuine love, whether romantic, familial, friendship, or compassion for strangers, adds light to what he called your soul record. This isn't about keeping score. It's about how love literally transforms your spiritual essence. As you love more deeply and authentically across lifetimes, your soul becomes increasingly radiant. This light acts like a beacon, attracting other loving souls and drawing your soul group closer together. People often wonder why some individuals seem to effortlessly attract loving relationships while others struggle. Thoth would say it's not luck or personality. It's the accumulated radiance of a soul that has chosen love repeatedly across many incarnations. This creates an upward spiral of connection and growth. The more you love, the more loving people you attract. The more you give compassion, the more compassionate souls recognize and seek you out. Your dreams become populated with increasingly evolved beings because your own evolution is calling them forward. Understanding this transforms how you approach every relationship in your current life. Knowing that love truly is the force that transcends all boundaries and connects us across eternity itself. When someone who has deeply wounded you appears in your dreams, your immediate reaction might be confusion, anger, or even fear. Why would your subconscious mind bring back these painful memories? Here's where Thoth's wisdom becomes revolutionary. Your higher self isn't reopening old wounds to torment you. It's offering you the most direct path to profound healing that exists. Think about emotional pain like a physical infection. When you cut yourself and bacteria enters the wound, what happens if you simply ignore it? The infection spreads, festers, and can eventually poison your entire system. Thoth discovered that emotional wounds create what he called psychic infections in the soul body. These aren't metaphors. They're actual energetic disturbances that attach to your consciousness and travel with you not just through this lifetime, but into future incarnations. Every unresolved hurt, every moment of betrayal or abandonment that you've buried rather than processed, creates these psychic infections. They manifest as recurring relationship patterns, inexplicable fears, sudden emotional reactions that seem disproportionate to present circumstances. You might find yourself sabotaging relationships right when they become meaningful, or feeling an overwhelming sense of abandonment when someone is simply running late. These aren't personality flaws. They're symptoms of unhealed psychic infections from this life, and potentially many others. Dreams provide something extraordinary that waking life cannot: a completely safe space to confront these infections without any physical, social, or emotional consequences. When your ex-partner who broke your heart appears in a dream, you can express rage, have conversations you never had, or even experience forgiveness, all without the complications of actual human interaction. Your dream state becomes a spiritual laboratory where healing can occur at the deepest levels. But here's where Thoth's teachings become truly profound. He spoke of something called dream forgiveness, which is completely different from the forced forgiveness our society often promotes. True dream forgiveness isn't about condoning harmful behavior or pretending that pain didn't matter. Instead, it's about recognizing that every painful experience, no matter how devastating, was ultimately a growth opportunity for both souls involved. This might sound impossible when you're dealing with genuine trauma or betrayal, but consider this before incarnating into physical form. Thoth said that souls actually choose the experiences they'll encounter, including the painful ones. The person who hurt you isn't just randomly causing suffering. They're playing a role that your soul specifically requested to help you develop qualities like resilience, discernment, or compassion. This doesn't make the pain less real or the behavior acceptable. What it does is shift your understanding from victim of random cruelty to soul courageously undertaking difficult lessons. When this recognition occurs naturally in dream states, and it must be natural, never forced, something miraculous happens. The psychic infection begins to clear. The karmic debt between you and that person resolves. Most importantly, you prevent carrying this pain into future lifetimes. Forced forgiveness, the kind where you tell yourself you should forgive because it's the right thing to do, is completely ineffective for clearing psychic infections. Your soul knows the difference between authentic release and mental gymnastics. Genuine healing can only arise when you truly grasp the spiritual purpose behind your experiences. And this understanding most often comes through dream work. Every person who appears in your dreams is functioning as a spiritual teacher. The colleague who triggers your insecurity is helping you cultivate self-worth. The parent who was emotionally unavailable is teaching you to find validation from within. The friend who betrayed your trust is showing you how to develop better discernment. Even the romantic partner who left you is guiding you toward a deeper understanding of love that isn't dependent on external circumstances. The frequency and intensity of these dream encounters directly correlate with your level of spiritual awakening. As you become more conscious, your dreams will present increasingly sophisticated healing opportunities. You might experience what Thoth called reunion dreams, where multiple significant people from your life appear together in the same dream scenario. These are powerful indicators that you're completing major karmic cycles and preparing for entirely new levels of soul development. Here's Thoth's practical guidance for working with these dream encounters. Keep a dream journal beside your bed and record every detail immediately upon waking. Note who appeared, what emotions arose, what actions took place, and any dialogue that occurred. Then ask yourself 3 essential questions. What quality or characteristic does this person represent in my life? What unfinished emotional business exists between us? What aspect of myself are they reflecting back to me? Don't rush to analyze or interpret. Instead, sit in meditation with these questions and allow insights to arise naturally. Sometimes the answers come immediately. Other times they unfold over days or weeks. Ask yourself how this dream is calling you towards spiritual growth. What would change in your waking life if you fully integrated the lesson this dream person is offering? The transformation occurs when you begin viewing every dream visitor as a spiritual messenger rather than an emotional trigger. Your dreams become powerful tools for conscious evolution instead of random mental noise. You start approaching sleep not just as rest, but as an opportunity for profound healing and growth. This shift in perspective changes everything. Instead of dreading encounters with difficult people from your past, you begin to welcome them as opportunities for liberation. Instead of waking up disturbed by challenging dreams, you wake up grateful for the healing work your soul accomplished while your conscious mind was quiet. Thoth's ultimate message about dream wisdom is this: every soul who appears in your dreams is a gift. They're guiding you back to remembering that love is the only reality, and everything else, all the pain, conflict, and separation, is temporary forgetting. When you truly understand this, Your dreams become doorways to profound spiritual awakening, and every person in them becomes a teacher, helping you remember who you really are.